Hi there. It's spring in Texas, and it is absolutely beautiful. Think warm and bright sunshine without the heavy heat, breezy winds that tickle your face and toes, and glimpses of life teeming everywhere, lizards and flowers alike bathing in the sunlight. The sunny days have also encouraged me to get outside more, a nice nudge from Mother Nature to a very stubborn homebody. This is one of our favorite Korean restaurants that welcomes us like family and never fails to fill us with pure goodness. Everything we've tried from here is so good, and this is the smattering of food we had this day. My favorite dish is their knife-cut noodles that has steamed clams, mussels, and veggies. The broth is just exquisite, savory and steaming hot on the surface, but one slurp and it cools down your whole body. The springtime is my favorite season, and lately, its return has gotten me thinking of the story, The Secret Garden. If it's new to you, the story is about a group of kids who discover a literal secret garden that has long been neglected. The kids nurse it back to health, and as the garden begins to flourish, so do they. The kids themselves, who have never been loved by the adults in their lives and were neglected just like the garden, undergo a kind of parallel rebirth and blossoming through their shared efforts to restore it. They end up experiencing their own restoration in the process, through the power of the friendship and love that they give one another. And as spring unfurls, I can't help but think that just like those kids, each of us are our own gardens in a sense. That, like a thriving garden, we also need diligent care and attention and the right conditions to bloom and flourish, like a soft, secure bed of soil filled with deep connection to where we come from and to our loved ones, a strong, rooted sense of self, steady rays of bodily and emotional nourishment, an atmosphere of loving thoughts, truth, and light, sufficient time and the freedom to grow. And like a garden, we have our seasons of rest and rejuvenation, for budding and blooming and bearing fruit, even for being pruned and letting go of the pieces of ourselves that we've outgrown. At the very least, it reminds me that even when it doesn't feel like I'm growing, that I am. And my channel name intends to reflect this precious garden that's under my care. A garden that I'm still learning how to really listen and tend to. It's messy and fragile and unwieldy at times, but so abundant and teeming with life. Beautiful, just like these warm spring days, just like yours. Lee took me to this Indian restaurant called Musaafer in celebration of me quitting my job. When the waiter asked if we were celebrating a special occasion, I was ready to brush it off as just a slightly fancier than usual date. But Lee very adamantly insisted yes, this was a celebration for the successful close of a long chapter in my life. It dawned on me then that life transitions like these are the mile markers in our lives, moments that let us pause from the non-stop of our routines and let us reflect on the big milestones we've reached so far, to take a step back from the hustle and bustle, to be proud of how we've grown, to appreciate who we've become and who was there with us along the way. It allows us to reflect on the process of our becoming up to that very point. I realize now that I know so much more than I did 5 years ago, even just a year ago. It's so easy to forget how far we've come, and we often fall into the trap of seeing things only as they appear in the now, like this perfect bar of chocolate, and like ourselves. We divorce ourselves from the long process and people that shaped us and got us to where we stand today. When I look back, I think about how much more I know now. Like, I know what it's like to move across the country and start fresh. I know how to budget. I know that my time with my parents is finite. I know the pain of drifting away from someone who once felt like home and that it needed to be done. I know what true peace feels like now and that I don't ever want to let it go. I know what I value and what I don't want to waste another second on. In a nutshell, I know myself, at least a little better. I know that I'm the only one who knows the fullness of my journey, just as you are the only one who truly knows how far you've made it from your beginnings. So please, Take some time to celebrate your journey if you haven't had a reason to recently. You deserve that, and maybe treat yourself to some chocolate too. I've recently been getting back into exercising after many, many months. Running has been my main focus, and to be honest, running is something that I naturally detest. But running with someone like Lee has given me the companionship and strength to try again. We've been running about 3-ish miles several times a week, and my favorite part is witnessing the radiant spring scenery on the trails we run, knowing that I get to be here experiencing it with someone I love. As we drink in the sun and embrace the wind, I think of Walt Whitman's words from his poem, "O Me, O Life," where he questions his purpose for living, as many of us have done at some point. His answer is simple yet profound, and it goes like this: that you are here, that life exists in identity, that the powerful play goes on, and that you may contribute a verse. Whatever season your garden is in, whatever mile marker you're at, your verse matters. And I'm so glad that we're here together to share ours with the world.